The LS1 swap is pretty much done. The motor runs, and now it's time to work on the air conditioning. Second Shift Performance is in South Florida, and here air conditioning is not really optional. Air conditioning is quite possibly the most important reason for having air conditioning is quite possibly the most important feature to have in any car in South Florida. So real is this that to the majority of the population down here, the car being able to move under its own steam is even a second priority to it being able to control the temperatures inside and keep you from sweating. A lot of people, a lot of builders get hung up on AC and building AC systems. And so we see a lot of swaps and a lot of conversions that do not have functional AC. And now we have a perfectly formed, exactly what we need, AC hose. This is the suction hose. The 1979 Cadillac DeVille originally came with R12 refrigerant. We don't really use that anymore. In fact, R134A, we're converting this to R134A, and one of the things that's customary to do as part of this conversion is to replace the number 12 suction hose with a number 10. The common sizes for AC hoses are number 6, number 8, number 10, and number 12. If you have a number 12 hose, the rhetoric is that the molecules in the R134A can seep through the number 12 hose because it doesn't have an inside barrier on it. A lot of people agree that if the R12 system ran R12 in the ester or mineral oil that system used for any length of time, then the inside of the hose is sealed and it's okay. But for pressures and for everything R134A just uses a smaller number 10 hose for the return side, and so that's what we're doing, is we're installing number 10. ICT Billet makes a really nice number 12 to number 10 adapter fitting that'll go on the accumulators so that you can run a number 10 hose from the accumulator back to the compressor if you only have a number 10 hose fitting on the compressor itself too. With that said, aside from the sizes of hoses, there's also two different types of hoses for AC. There's standard barrier or SB and reduced barrier or RB. We are using the standard barrier hosings. These are the thicker hoses. In my mind, I believe they're more insulating than the other ones, but that's just what I'm used to. I'm an old dog. So this is our suction hose from the accumulator back to the compressor. The two mount very close to each other, but we have a long hose so it can come back and make a loop. So as the engine's running, it's not pulling on the AC box. Let's get this back in. beautiful fitting. This will last the life of the vehicle. So in the old days, of R12, all of our pressure and cycling switches and everything were all done like on the low side. There wasn't too many high side switches, or there wasn't too much done that way. But then as we moved into R134A systems, it seems like everything became about the high side, and we started caring a lot less about what was going on the low side. And so on all of today's cars, what you have is you have like a commonly on your GM vehicles especially, is you have just a high side transducer, and everything is determined from this, the compressors, whether it's safe to turn on or shut off, and even when the fans turn on, all from the high side, and we don't really do too much with the low side. One thing that I'm not going to play with on this, that I'm going to leave pretty much original, is I'm not changing the accumulator for a receiver dryer. The accumulator mounts on the low side, the receiver dryer is mounted on the high side. Most of the R134 systems seem to have a receiver dryer, but we're setting ours up with the old accumulator. It's there and it works. This is our high side line coming off of the condenser. This is out. The pressure comes out of the compressor, goes into the condenser, it gets cooled, it comes out of the condenser. It's a slightly lower pressure because it's been cooled by the condenser. And so that's where we're going to measure our pressure. If we put our high side pressure switch that's going to control the cycling and the fans in between the compressor and the condenser, we might get reduced performance, or we might get the compressor tripping early when the pressures aren't that high on the actual feed line going into the evap. So the high side pressure switch that I like to add, I will always add to the number 6 line that runs from the condenser to the evap. This is our high side pressure switch. We don't have any way of setting up a transducer or having logical control that's going to look at the pressure and make decisions based off of that. So we just get this pressure switch. This is a Vintage Air trinary switch. You can get a trinary switch from a couple of different people. It doesn't have to be from Vintage Air. And this is really cool. I have a little number 6 adapter, which is just a little number 6 connector, coupler, with a little service port on it. And a Vintage Air, or trinary switch rather, goes right onto that service port. For us, I'm going to mount this real close to the radiator. I don't know a better place to put it, and it gets pretty congested underneath the compressor and behind the compressor, because I also got my transmission cooler lines run up there and some battery cables. So mounting this close to the radiator for us is a good way to go. This will be clocked in towards the battery. And I'll make it a little bit smaller. This is a ratcheting hose cutter. You have to have one of these if you're going to be working with these AC lines. Let me just cut another inch or 2 off of it. Okay, now that can go there. And there we are. From here we'll just make our other hose, and now the pressure switch is coming right off the condenser, right next to our high side service port. Okay, so here we are just listening to the radio on the 12.3 inch. There's the ACES EFI controller. I'm sorry about all the glare, but it's there. Let's do a quick walk around. Motor's running. Tried to make it clean as we could. We built our own AC lines. The AC is up and working here at the high side service port. There's the low side service port. Nice, easy in the open. And they're not retrofit fittings. Those are actual R134A service ports. The LS1 engine is running truck intake, and it's being driven with ACES Jackpot EFI. We have 2 electric fans. Let's show you those. The 2 electric fans come out of a 2001 Cadillac DeVille. There we are. And the 2 fans are wired with low and high speed operation, and they're the relay to control that. This is our cold air intake. The cold air intake is hard mounted. Overall, we like to believe this is a pretty clean install. All of the support bars are back in place, up top and underneath. And we are very happy with what we got. There's the hood. This car is supposed to be going out for rims. Maybe some paint. I think he's going to get a better steering wheel.